I was cutting into a piece of roast chicken when my sister-in-law suddenly stood up from the table and said she was pregnant with my child. The knife stopped halfway through the meat. For a second, I thought I had misheard her. My name is David. I'm a high school teacher, and I have been married to Lisa for 6 years. We were sitting at her parents' house for a normal Sunday dinner, the kind we had done so many times before that it always felt routine. Her mother had cooked a full meal, the table was crowded, and everyone was talking in the usual relaxed way. Lisa was beside me. Her father was at the head of the table. Her younger sister Rachel was across from us, and Rachel's boyfriend Kyle was next to her. Nothing about the evening felt strange at the start. Rachel's hand was shaking as she suddenly pushed her chair back and stood up. The sound of the chair scraping the floor made everyone look at her. Then she pointed straight at me across the table. Her voice was sharp but unstable when she said, tell them what you did." I slowly set my fork down because I didn't understand what was happening. I asked her what she was talking about. My voice came out slower than normal because I was trying to process her expression, her tone, and the way everyone else had gone quiet. Then she said it again, louder this time. "I'm 12 weeks pregnant, and it's yours." The entire room went silent like someone had cut the sound out of the air. Even the background noises of chairs and plates stopped feeling real. Lisa's face changed instantly. All the color drained from it. She looked confused at first, then shocked, then something close to fear. I immediately shook my head. I told her that was not possible. I said I didn't understand what she was saying. Rachel's eyes filled with tears right away and she started speaking faster, like she had been holding it in for a long time. She said it happened in July at the lake house. She said everyone was asleep and I came to her room. She said I told her to stay quiet. I just stared at her because none of it made any sense. It never happened. I told her firmly to stop lying. My voice got louder because I felt panic rising in my chest. I repeated that it was not true, that I had never done anything like that. Rachel started crying harder, real heavy sobs now. Her mother rushed over to her side and wrapped an arm around her, trying to comfort her. The room felt like it was collapsing into confusion. Lisa turned to me slowly. Her voice was barely above a whisper when she asked me to tell her that Rachel was lying. I looked right at Lisa and told her again that I had never touched Rachel, never even thought about anything like that. I told her this was completely false. But Lisa did not respond the way I expected. She just kept staring at me like she was trying to decide if she knew me at all. Rachel kept crying and added more claims, saying I had been texting her for months, telling her to stay quiet, and threatening her. I immediately said that I didn't even have her number saved, that I had never sent her any messages. I felt my hands shaking now because everything was spiraling out of control. Lisa's father suddenly stood up. He was a large man, and the way he looked at me made me feel like I was already guilty in his mind. He told me to get out of his house. I tried to speak again. I tried to explain. I said Lisa knew me, that she knew I would never do something like this. But Lisa would not look at me anymore. Her voice was cold when she repeated, "Get out." I left that night without understanding how everything had turned upside down so quickly. I met Lisa 7 years ago in a bookstore in Portland. She was standing in the poetry section, holding a book she was clearly unsure about buying. I was there looking for lesson plans for my class. We started talking casually, then ended up getting coffee. That coffee turned into a 3-hour conversation. She laughed easily, and I remember thinking she felt safe to talk to. We kept seeing each other after that. Her family was close and very traditional about Sunday dinners. Every week they gathered, sometimes holidays too. At first, they were polite to me, careful but welcoming enough. Over time, it felt normal. Rachel was 19 when I first met her. She was quiet, studying nursing, mostly kept to herself. There was never any tension between us. Nothing strange, just normal family interaction. Last July, we did spend a weekend at her parents' lake house. The whole family was there. Rachel came with her boyfriend Kyle. They had only been dating for a few months at that point. I remember that weekend clearly because it was simple and uneventful. We grilled food outside, played cards in the evening, and talked about random things. I went to bed early both nights because I had summer classes to prepare for. I never left the main area alone with Rachel. Nothing unusual happened. Nothing even close to what she described. Now I was sitting alone in a cheap Motel 6 room off the highway. Lisa had refused to let me back into our apartment. She sent me one text message that said, "Don't contact me or my family. I need time to think." I tried calling her, but she did not answer. I called again and again until it became clear she was not going to pick up. I called her mother next. She answered and immediately started yelling at me, calling me a predator. She said I should stay away from Rachel and that if I came near her again, they would call the police. I tried to explain everything calmly, but she hung up before I could finish. Then her father sent me a short message that said, if I knew what was good for me, I would disappear. I sat on the edge of the motel bed staring at my phone, trying to understand how this had become my life in a single evening. Rachel was lying. I was sure of it. But the question that kept hitting me was why she would do something like this. And why now? I opened my laptop and started going through everything I had. I checked my phone records first. Every message, every call log, every email I had ever sent. There was nothing to Rachel at all. Not a single message. Not even by mistake. Then I checked my location history. The weekend of July 12th to 14th, when we were at the lake house, was clearly recorded. My phone showed I stayed in the main house most of the time. I only moved twice, once to the dock with Lisa, and once to a nearby grocery store. There was no movement anywhere near Rachel's room. Nothing that supported her claim. I saved everything carefully. Screenshots, logs, timestamps. I created a folder because I knew I needed proof if I was going to survive this. Then I started thinking about Kyle. He had been sitting quietly at the dinner table during the accusation. He didn't say a word. He just stared down at his plate. That silence bothered me. I looked him up on Facebook. Kyle Brennan, 22 years old, worked at a car dealership. His profile still showed he was in a relationship with Rachel. There was a recent photo of them together at a restaurant. She looked happy in it. He had his arm around her. It didn't look like a couple falling apart. I scrolled further and found a post from August where Rachel had been tagged. The caption said she couldn't wait for what was next, that big changes were coming. People had commented congratulating her. Some asked if she was engaged. She replied saying not yet, but soon, something even better. I stared at that line for a long time. Something even better than engaged didn't make sense in the way she was now presenting herself. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I opened the message. It said, "Stop digging. This is your only warning." I took a screenshot and added it to my folder. I didn't reply. The next morning, I contacted a lawyer. His name was Paul Hendris. He handled family law and defamation cases. I explained everything from the beginning. He didn't interrupt me once. He just listened carefully. When I finished, he asked if I had any proof I was never alone with her. I showed him the location data and phone records. He said that was good, but not enough on its own. He said what we needed was proof that she was lying and a reason behind it. A week passed with no contact from Lisa. Her entire family had blocked me. Then Paul called me back. He said he found something. Rachel had applied for state assistance 2 weeks before the dinner. Medical coverage for pregnancy. On her form, she had listed the father as unknown. He paused and said that was important because it meant she hadn't originally named me. Something had changed after that application. Then he added that Kyle had a sealed juvenile record for assault and that his family was struggling financially, barely getting by. While I was still trying to process that, my phone rang again. This time it was St. Vincent's Hospital. The woman on the line said they needed me to come in immediately. She said it was about Rachel Monroe. I told Paul I would call him back, but I didn't move from my seat. The voice on the phone repeated my name again. more urgently this time, and everything started to feel like it was only getting worse. The woman's voice sounded professional and clinical. "This is Susan Park from St. Vincent's Hospital. We need you to come in as soon as possible." "What? What's going on?" I asked. "I can't explain it over the phone, but it's urgent. Can you come today?" "Is Rachel all right?" "Sir, she is stable. But there is something you need to understand. Please come alone. Do not bring any family members." She gave me a time. 2I. I sat in my car in the parking lot for about 10 minutes before I finally went inside. Susan Park met me at the front desk. She looked mid-40s, wearing scrubs and holding a clipboard. She led me down a short hallway into a small office and closed the door behind us. "Mr. Carver," she began, "Rachel Monroe listed you as the father of her child on her intake forms." "I know that's not true," I said quickly. She studied me for a moment. "We ran routine blood work as part of her prenatal screening. There are some inconsistencies." "What kind of inconsistencies?" "Her blood type is O positive. She named you as the father, so we needed your blood type for records." "I'm AB negative." She wrote it down and looked up again. "And your wife?" "A positive." She set the pen down slowly. "Mr. Carver, the fetus has B positive blood." I just stared at her. "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means genetically, it is not possible for you to be the father." The room suddenly felt smaller, like the walls were closing in. "Does Rachel know this?" "Not yet, but she will. We are required to inform her at her next appointment." "When is that?" "Tomorrow morning." I left the hospital in a daze and called Paul from the parking lot. "They have proof," I said. "Medical proof. The blood types don't match. I can't be the father." "That's exactly what we needed," Paul replied. "Can you get documentation?" "The hospital will tell her tomorrow. She'll know by noon." "Good. Let her process it. Don't call her. Don't call your wife either. Let them come to you. If they don't, then we go to them with everything." That night, I didn't sleep at all. The next day at 1:00 p.m., my phone rang. It was Lisa. I answered. "Yeah?" Her voice was shaking. "David. Rachel just called me. She's at the hospital. They told her you can't be the father. Something about blood types." I stayed silent. "I don't understand," she continued. "She was so certain. She even had details. She knew things about that weekend." "What kind of things?" I asked. "She said you wore a gray shirt to bed. That you told her you weren't happy with me. That you kissed her near the dock." "I wore a white shirt," I said. "I never went to any dock alone. And I have never been unhappy with you." There was silence. "Why would she lie?" Lisa whispered. "I don't know," I said. "But I will find out." Her voice cracked. "My parents are going crazy. My dad says the hospital made a mistake. My mom thinks Rachel just mixed up dates." "There's no mix-up," I said firmly. "She lied, and someone helped her." "Who?" Lisa asked. "I think Kyle," I said after a pause. A long silence followed. "Why him?" she asked. "Because he is the real father, and they needed someone else to take the blame." That night, Lisa came to the motel where I was staying. I opened the door, and she looked exhausted, her eyes red and swollen. "Can I come in?" she asked softly. I stepped aside. She sat on the edge of the bed and said, "I talked to Rachel. I confronted her about everything." "And?" She broke down. She said Kyle convinced her. His family is very strict, very religious. She said they would disown him if they found out. Lisa wiped her face. "So she agreed to blame you? Just to protect him?" I shook my head slowly. "And she destroyed everything for that?" She said Kyle promised they would tell the truth later, after the baby was born, that it was only temporary. "Temporary," I repeated bitterly. "I know your family turned against you," Lisa said. "My dad threatened you. My mom called you horrible things." "Yes," I said quietly. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I looked at her. Sorry doesn't fix it, Lisa. She stared at the floor. What do you want me to say? Say that you believe me, even for a second. She didn't answer. That silence said everything. You should go, I said. David, please, go. She stood up slowly, walked to the door, then stopped. Rachel is telling the truth tomorrow. To everyone. Kyle's family, too. She's ending it. Good, I said. What are you going to do? I'm calling my lawyer, I told her. And then I'll decide if I still want to be married to someone who thought I could do something like that. She left without another word. 2 days later, Rachel confessed. She told both families everything. Kyle was exposed too. She even posted an apology online, but deleted it within an hour. Lisa's father called me first. David, we made a terrible mistake. You did, I said. We want you to come to dinner. We should talk as a family. I'm not family anymore. You're still married to our daughter. Not for long. Her mother called too, crying and apologizing. I didn't respond. Kyle's family cut him off completely. He lost everything and ended up staying on a friend's couch. Rachel moved back home. She was 4 months away from giving birth. Lisa came one last time after I filed for divorce. I made a mistake, she said quickly. We can fix this. You didn't make a mistake, I said calmly. You made a choice. You chose not to believe me. I was scared. I was confused. I was your husband. She started crying. Please don't do this. I handed her the divorce papers. Sign them. Her hands were shaking as she signed. I watched her walk away for the last time. A week later, Paul called. It's final. Divorce is done. Good, I said. Are you okay? I looked out of the window of my new apartment and didn't answer right away.